So now that you have your communication style figured out, you've gone through the scoring, you've written it down, you've read about them a little bit, what does it all mean? Well, the thing is, some of you are probably thinking, wow, that perfectly describes me. This is amazing. Some of you are probably saying, like, I don't really know. I think I'm actually this other communication style. That's okay. Again, this is only 10 questions. We can't get at the core of how you communicate in 10 questions perfectly, right? But what this should really figure out is basically what your most comfortable way of communicating is. Some of you might actually have two different styles that you're pretty comfortable with through practice or your personal experience. Some of you may be only one way. It just depends on your background. And it's really important to note that this, again, is based on your experience and practices. So if you practice a different style a lot, you actually could shift over and change what your most comfortable communication style is with time. This is not your personality. This is not who you are, right? Me personally, I am not somebody who naturally or sort of generally speaking loves to interact socially with new people. I'm not like very talkative in a group of new people that I don't really know. However, with a lot of practice, I've gotten to a point where I can go to conferences and workshops and things like that and reach out, talk to new people, interact with them, build connections, and have an okay time doing that. So again, like that's something I've practiced and I've learned how to do, and it doesn't bother me as much as it used to in the past. If you had asked me about this maybe 5 years ago, I would tell you that no way, that is not a way I'm comfortable communicating. So again, I just really want to emphasize that. This is not who you are. This is not your defining personality. This is just where you happen to be most comfortable communicating right now at this point in your life. And it probably will change a little bit through practice as we get older, and also through practice here, because we will be trying to practice some different communication styles going forward. So you might notice again that it talked about every style having some strengths and weaknesses. There's no best way to communicate. It depends on the situation. It depends who you are communicating with, right? The best way of communicating is the way that communicates your message most clearly to the people you happen to be talking to. So if you are talking to a bunch of lions or commanders, right, you're probably going to want to communicate in a very different way than if you are working with a bunch of koalas, right? So keep that in mind. The best way to communicate is being able to shift and change how you communicate depending on the people you're with. So you need to understand both sides, the strengths and the weaknesses of each style, to be able to communicate with other people, because they all have different communication styles themselves. So again, if I tend to rely on relationships and connecting with people, but I'm talking to again, a lion, someone who's maybe more likely to want to just get down to business and kind of not think about that, or maybe an owl who is thinking more about logic and reason, then I'm going to need to shift to make sure that I can get them on board and help them understand what I'm talking about. If I just stick to my style and don't shift at all for them and don't practice a different way of communicating, chances are it's going to frustrate them and cause problems, right? So that's where we're going to go with the next step in this situation. You're going to get into your family groups. You're going to finally find your family groups, and we're going to work on ways to figure out how to communicate with each other based on these communication styles, so that before issues even arise, you all are working together in a positive way.